Ladies and gentlemen, this is your captain speaking. We have an emergency in the cockpit. Shh, we're out of coffee. You never want to hear that. What's up, Magnus? What's everybody? Wellness Week Live. How's everyone doing? Magnus, how are you?
I'm doing fine. Me and my wife, we actually had a little bit of an adventure yesterday. We went to Disneyland has a specific like event nights. So yesterday was Villains Night. So they actually celebrate all the villains in the Disney shows and stuff like that. So it was Cruella and it was Captain Hook, all those everything. So it was pretty cool. My wife is a huge Disney fan, so I enjoy. And I mean, for me, it brings me back to childhood and actually like a really good memories when I had my dad and the rest of my family was actually going to Disneyland, Disney World, stuff like that. So that's something that I always get reminded on when I go to like a theme park. It's like I remember my dad.
So you have that's awesome, man. Yeah, sweet memories for sure, dude. Absolutely. I mean, so I didn't know this, but Disney purchased, I guess, Star Wars. They purchased the rights.
Yeah.
So I know you're a Star Wars guy. Your wife is Disney. So now I got to be honest. It's fun. So I'm a shareholder in Disney. I love the company, but I always make fun of people who go to Disney. I'm like, come on, you're that guy. I'm like, no, Magnus, you're letting me down. All right. So you're big into Disney. By you is Disney World, right?
Disneyland. But yesterday it was actually on California Adventure Park, which is Disney's other theme park that is like built next. I never been before. So, but to be honest, we were kind of like, both of us were kind of bummed out a bit because it does not have the nostalgia and kind of feel of Disneyland. But now we know like it's a fun thing. I mean, we got out. It's nice. It's about an hour away from our house. So again,
date day.
Yeah, we had fun. That's all what it's about. You know, like we enjoy it, at least getting out of the house and doing things, you know.
Listen, yeah. And you and I had that conversation. You got to get out of the house.
Yeah.
I mean, I work from home. It's killing me. So we had the whole conversation. I gotta get out. I gotta join the Disney Club or something. I don't know. Okay. So Magnus, speaking about people getting out of the house. So today's topic: what sport should you play as an adult? Okay. So we get out of high school, we get out of college, we get out of trade school, we get out of military, whatever. And then a lot of times we let it go. And, going to the gym is cool. But, like, what if somebody wants to play a sport? So as an adult, now, Magnus, you're a nutritionist, you're a trainer. What would you advise somebody? I guess it depends, right, on their physical capabilities, if they have any injuries, whatnot. Yes. But, like, what would you tell somebody in their 40s, relatively healthy, whatever, 30s, 40s, 50s? What would you tell them? If they say, I'm looking to do a sport, what do you suggest, Magnus?
So let's look at this. This is basically like an onion. It has very many layers. So we could be able to. I mean, could sit and talk about this for hours, but let's shorten it down a little bit. So here's the thing: whatever you start doing, if you have been doing. Oh, I used to like run track when I was in high school or in college or things like that, and then your career, marriage, kids, stuff like that, you're not out training. And this is even like a simple thing as going out and jogging. Then people say, oh, I'll buy a new pair of shoes, or you actually like start digging around in your closet and find these like 20-year-old shoes, like running shoes, and then you just put them on and then go out and start running. I'll rush run until I get tired. That's one of the most dumbest thing you can do.
You go into the ER.
Yeah, like injury prone. It's an injury waiting to happen. First of all, you're not prepared for it. You don't have the technique anymore. And even if you have the technique, like you probably need to pick it up and start slowly. So just like a basic thing that we think like running, no, it's still a skill set that you have to train. And this comes with every sport. Every sport has a skill set that you have to practice and prepare for. So I'm up for everybody to do basically everything. Like you see a lot of people, like when they're getting older, like we're talking about like in their 60s and 70s, actually starts with different sports. And they could do something crazy, like for instance, Brazilian jiu-jitsu and things like that. It's just up to what you want to do, what you enjoy doing, and what you're continuously doing.
Can I add? So you mentioned
Yeah.
jujitsu. Now I've taken a year of jujitsu, and I used to be the head coach of wrestling in high school here in Jersey. I'm a big fan of martial arts. I would add though, how risk averse are you, and how much are you willing to accept injury? If you're not risk adverse, if you do not want to get injured, do not do martial arts. Do not do Tough Mudders. Don't do what do you call it? Anything that's going to require contact of some sort.
Yeah.
You know, no basketball. If you're really, really averse, I mean, so you walk, you swim, you maybe tennis, you know, something like that. But if you're okay with, because I know I've done it. You were in the military. Yeah, like you're gonna get injured if you do jujitsu, and that's fine if you're okay with that. You're gonna get a sprained wrist, you're gonna get a black eye, you're gonna, you know, ribs gonna be bruised, but you will learn how to protect your own life. So it's, you know, how much, what kind
it's
of
almost risk reward. I think that's that. Yeah, like we're always talking about risk reward. It's the same thing we're talking about in training. It's like what are the risks with these exercises? What are the rewards? And as a trainer, one of the most important things, or at least from my perspective, is not getting your clients injured.
Right.
So this is something that I see a lot of issues with trainers, that they come out like they might be young, inexperienced, or experienced, and they don't really give a shit about their clients, which is quite common. I'm just waving to my wife and dog. Anyhow,
hello, Mrs. How are you? Hello.
So looking at it, like you have to think that over. I mean, certain exercises like doing Olympic lifting, tremendous. Like it's a sport itself, so it's very complicated.
That sent me to the hospital.
Exactly, and that's what I was gonna say. It's a sports by itself. It's very technical. It's very hard, and also like your body needs to be so prepared in modalities. We're talking about strength. We're talking about mobility. We're talking about stability. We're also talking about like the central nervous system, how efficient it is, and that you actually can move around and fire correctly. Anyhow, we could basically take and make it simpler and basically just do one easy, like a box jump, that we're jumping up on a box. It doesn't have to be a high box.
Right.
And then we're stepping down. And that's the thing, though. We reduce the injury risk. We still get like the working on power and explosive power and things like that, which we lose kind of early. That's one of the things that we actually lose, and that's why we age too, because we're not able to produce power or doing explosive movements.
Right.
So it's all about like thinking about risk and reward and having an understanding. It's like, well, like jiu-jitsu might not be the best thing for me if I'm injury prone or have issues. But like looking at another sport that a lot of people play, for instance, for you, tennis or golf, it's a repetitive movement with one side. So usually your body becomes basically unbalanced. One side is stronger than the other. So you basically have to go to the gym and train so you stabilize things again. So you actually play like seasonal wise. You have an in-season, off-season, post-season, pre-season. So you work on all these things, on preparing yourself, getting better, adjusting things so you're not getting injured and you're being smart.
Right. And, you know, I'd also say you may be somebody that's like, oh, no, I don't care if I get injured. I'm fine. But then you have to ask yourself the question, okay, well, what kind of obligations and job do you have? If you have a physical job, let's just say in construction or probably, and I would say maybe don't do something too physical like martial arts because you need your body. But if you're at a cubicle and you're, you know, just on a computer and you're okay with the risk, okay, cool. Because if you hurt your ankle, you're sitting anyways.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, all right, right. So that's interesting that you mentioned that too about tennis and other sports where it's repetitive. You could still have a stress injury over the years. So I guess I'm talking about acute injuries where it happens right away. You're going to the ER. The tennis injury would be like, oh, my elbow hurts after like, you know, whatever, 10 years. And I play a ton of tennis and I already got the tennis elbow. To your point, Magnus, I don't know if I told you. So I used to compete in Olympic lifting and I was trained to try to qualify for teen Olympics way back when in high school. So I got injured in my shoulder and I have, you know, like you, I got a bunch of sports injuries. And now I find, even though I'm in good shape, I can't lift the weights that I used to. It's not that I'm physically incapable. I'm physically capable, but the various operations and injuries I've had, I just can't. I'll re-injure myself, and it sucks because physically I can do it, but the operation or injuries that I've had have been to my torso, and I can't. And it sucks because I'm like, oh man, I really want to lift heavy and hard, but I can't do that. So know thyself, it's like.
But this is the interesting part. I think that you're scratching on something that is way more important than with a lot of people that trains, and especially when it comes to resistance training, that they have a tendency to forget. And that's the longevity part. Like, yeah, when we're in our 20s or when we're younger, we're doing all the most dumbest things in the world. We recover from it like fairly quickly and things like that. When we get older, those things add up quickly and we can actually injure ourselves and injure ourselves pretty bad. So that's why it's important to have an understanding. You can't lift like you're 25.
And men are guilty. Men are guilty of that. We think we're always right.
And here's the thing. And here's something that like this comes from a trainer that like I've been in a gym for a long time. The earlier you start thinking of lifting more like an elderly, and with elderly I'm just talking about like we're talking about 40 and up, for instance. Like we're not talking about like but still like even as a senior citizen, the earlier you start thinking of lifting smart, like people should be doing, even when you're in your 20s, you're gonna feel like you're in your 20s even when you're in your 60s.
Right. You got to protect your body, be smart about it.
Yeah. So it's very important to kind of understand that like we can't do the things that we did in high school, that like in comparing ourselves, like, and it's the same thing. If I compared myself to what I like lift the most, I mean, I would be embarrassed about myself now. I don't care about the weights anymore. Like, I want to get stronger, but there's many ways of getting stronger without lifting heavier weights.
Here's well, funny you mentioned that. So someone like you or maybe me, so in many respects, I'm in better shape now than I was when I was an athlete in high school. But I think that tricks a lot of men and women because we see ourselves in the mirror, like, oh, I look pretty good. It would almost help us if we were just obese and shot because you would know, okay, I can't do that. Yeah. But we trick ourselves and we look like maybe we are in better shape than we were when we were 17. But internally, our muscles, our tendons, our bones, they're just not. And this is who's getting injured. Guys like you and me or women that, they are in good shape, but you're not 20 anymore. You're 40, you're 50. Yeah. And this is how the injuries happen. So, typically you're never going to see somebody who's, I'm 500 pounds and they're not going to be in the hospital for a sports injury. It's, again, guys like you and me who think we look like we still have it, and we do in many respects, but not in the same way. And this is how injuries. So, guys.
And one thing I want to point out, I mean, you can train hard, you can like lift a lot of weight, things like that, but it's all about like being smart about it and having hopefully with age that we get a little more life experience and wisdom and have an understanding. It's like you don't need to compete and lift the most at the gym unless you're a power lifter and that is your sport and your life or profession or whatnot.
Wow, different story.
Like listen to yourself and be smart about it, because like taking care of yourself, but also being in the gym or doing some sports or whatnot and having fun, that's important too. I think that one thing that keeps us young are actually competing. Yes. And through sports. And the thing is, like, it doesn't have to be against other people. It could be actually that you're doing it against time or against weight or whatever it is. But I still think that sports has such a big thing. And looking at it, sports, when it comes down to it, when you're in a team sport or you're actually doing it against other people, like, like the tennis and things like that, it's also more about like the camaraderie that you actually go in and socialize in and pick up sports that like you're a weekend warrior, things like that. I still think that is important that people, like you can play like flag football and things like that. Whatever, I mean, I think it's like the competitive juice when it starts flowing. I think that's good for people that they get an outlet. And I think that more people would be more like be able to deal with stress better if they did this in the right way. But it also, like, remember, we're not pro athletes.
Right. We don't have the foundation around us, the supply, the doctors, the everything. Yeah.
We don't put hundreds of thousands of dollars into our bodies. We can't perform like that. And we can't train like a pro athlete. I mean, like, again, looking at it, they build up their volume and how much stress they put on their bodies for 20 years or more, and start to train. Oh, I'm gonna take this pro athletes training program. Don't. It's not good. And then it's also like not doing too much intense things too, like trying to figure it out, because doing too much like intense cardio, hit training, things like that is actually negative to our health, which a lot of people like don't understand. It's like just increasing the intensity is usually not the best way. For instance, for fat loss, it's not good of doing 16 Orange Theory classes in a week and things like that. That's just insane. Like,
yeah, you have to pace yourself. Obviously, diet, nutrition is really where it's at.
Smart training is better than hard training.
Right, it's like, a lifestyle forever. It's not.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this. Okay, so in that, and we'll move on to the next topic. But so the sports that I tell people that I do at 48 years old, I walk. I'm doing yoga now. I cycle a lot, and I play tennis. Those are the 4 things I do. I am somewhat risk averse to injury because my job in the entertainment business and catering business is physical. So I can't really afford a sprained ankle from doing karate. Like, you know, I love martial arts, but my job is very physical in what I do. So anyways, what do you do, Magnus, for your sport or activity to stay in shape?
So I don't do any now. I'm not doing any like active team sport or anything like that. There's a difference also. Like in Sweden, we have team sports. It's not related to school. So I played football until I was 30 years old. So I think I played in total like 17 years or something like that. So but here's the thing though. Like I do a lot of walking, if we call that a sport, but a physical activity.
Right.
Like I like hiking. That's another thing, that like being out in nature and things like that. Strength training, resistance training is my go-to thing.
Right.
Other things that I do like, I mean, it could be something like racquetball, things like that. Even some just throwing a football back and forth to one another, or you know, or like it's not like I'm doing it nowadays. Like go out and shoot basketball, but that least like running around and shooting. It's still like activity in good in many ways. Form. I think that like you need to understand when you choose a sport at an older age is like also like is it an individual sport or is it a team sport? Because if it's a team sport, you need to understand that it's not just about you. It's about you. Your dedication is something that like other people depends on too. So either you sign up and do it or you don't. Like you can't be flaky back and forth. I mean, you have to be fairly solid with your time and scheduling.
Be consistent. Right.
So that's why I always like if you have a very like flexible schedule and things are moving back and constantly moving back and forth, then it might be good to focus more on individual sport. Like it could be whatever. Like you can go out and play golf by yourself.
Right.
You can go out and swim.
Cycle, whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So now along those lines, for us men or women who want to boost testosterone for your, everything in life, I guess. So what are some foods that can kill our testosterone, that can make us little wee men or wee women? Don't eat it.
So let's start with the basics. Testosterone is dropping drastically in people nowadays. We both see it in men and females. And here's an important thing. Female need testosterone too. Like it's not just male or female. We have more of it. That's why it's called a male hormone. They have less, but they still need it to be healthy.
And vice versa. Men have some estrogen.
Yes, of course. And we need it. We need it to be healthy too. And that's something that people need to understand is that like we still need both and we need to find a balance of it. The problem is that you're starting to see a balance that the testosterone is plummeting like a lot.
I wonder, is that because of the foods we're eating as Americans, or?
I will get to that. Same thing you've seen, estrogen is increasing a lot. So and that for both females and males are bad. So what did this depend on? You one of the main factors you were talking about, food, for sure. Stress levels. Not having like physical activity. We also seen like not like having this competing, actually raises testosterone, actually competing against yourself or competing against other people. We see it, and here's one thing that people don't see. Like, you see a lot of more like estrogen and pseudoestrogen like molecules. You find that more in waters nowadays, and that could be from birth control. You also see that a lot.
Are you saying because they're dumping medicines into the water, they're flushing it, goes into the water table, and then we drink it?
Yes. Yep. So you actually seen that certain places, like certain lakes and things like that, where like close to for instance, pharmaceutical companies and things like that, or just in bigger cities, that you see the male population drop a lot because the estrogen is so high in the water. And it's not like it's like having basically taking birth control. No, but it's that constant exposure for a long time. Okay. So this is actually absolute crazy. That's why I understand why more and more people put in filters to actually remove organic molecules and materials out of the water before they drink it, shower, whatnot.
That's crazy.
And here's another thing that a lot of people also kind of forget about. A lot of personal hygiene products like lotions, perfumes, things like that also contain a lot of these pseudoestrogen-like molecules. So it mimics basically the estrogen when it comes in.
Phytoestrogen.
Yeah. Which that's why you see that. And also another thing for us guys, alcohol is not the best, and especially beer. You usually see like people that drink a lot of beer, they're starting to have more and more like female features. They're getting more like round hips. They actually.
By the way, I would say that includes wine too, because again, if you're doing 2 glasses of wine a day, I doubt you got a 6-pack.
Yeah, but that's alcohol as a whole.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But people think wine is fine, though. Wine's not alcohol.
No, alcohol is alcohol. It doesn't matter. I mean, the thing is with when you're looking at beer, it's just the combination of everything in beer that even has a more negative effect on it. You also see like a lot of we're gaining a lot of weight around our midsection and things like that. So this is really, really bad, and it's something that we need to start like looking at and actually see it as the problem that it is. Other things that around us are chemicals within, like it could be in our furniture, paint,
the flame like retardants in the
that also have a negative effect on our testosterone levels.
What I was going to say is, I mean, that's kind of hard in a way to, I mean, I guess we could look into, what the furniture is made out of. But so far as the foods, the quick list I got here was also, I didn't know dairy products, alcohol, mint, bread, pastries, dessert. Okay, my life is over. Licorice root, certain fats, probably omega-6, not omega-3s, I would imagine, but who knows?
Yes.
You see that?
And I can tell you why. And you also see the vegetable oils. But the same thing. Have you heard this list before? Again, we're repeating the same thing that basically has the same causes for every problem.
All the diseases, 100%.
Yeah. So again, with the fats, they're talking, like you said, omega-6s and also the vegetable oils, because they increase inflammation. Increased inflammation have the same thing, reduces testosterone. So all these things have a negative effect, and it just like spins and spins and spins, and it just drops us out of control.
Right. So now, I'm sorry.
Yeah. So you like the list that you went through. I also looked at the same thing. Like it's the same thing. Like fried food, processed food. If we add those things to all these like bad processed vegetable oils and things like that.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm like a broken record.
No. You got to, but Magnus, a lot of people don't know, and I didn't know this up until maybe a couple of weeks ago, and I'm a pretty healthy guy. I was like, oh damn, this does that too. Okay, now what about this one? Okay, so now you want to boost your testosterone, ladies and gentlemen. So here's the quick list I got. Tell me what you think, Magnus. Okay, if you eat oysters, garlic, eggs, ginger, basically your breath's gonna smell like shit. Okay, you know what I'm talking to. All right, beans, tuna, egg yolks, pomegranate juice, olive oil, avocado, spinach, leafy greens, bananas, onions, shellfish. Now wait, it says milk to boost your testosterone, but on the list I saw before, it also said milk takes away. I guess it has to be organic milk. I don't know. Almonds.
you pointed it out. Milk are very different nowadays. So, and that comes also more like, what are you have a lot of cows that have a tendency to like increased inflammation and things like
because
that.
Because we give the hormone RBGH or something like that.
Yeah, and also they're talking about more like what boost. Why it says that it boosted a lot is because it has like different types of protein that can help you out to boost your testosterone levels that way. But it's the same thing. Too much milk. I wouldn't suggest anybody having too many dairy products, because that's usually we have some kind of intolerance to it in one way or form. So be smart about that. I usually tell most people to stay away from dairy products because of this and it causing inflammation and things like that.
Right.
But again, science is science. You will always find one kind of like article that proves one thing, and then you see something that proves the other. Then you need to look at the details. Okay, did the eat they saying? So there's more factors than just, it's just milk that is positive, negative. No, and it's also individual based if it's good for you or bad for you.
Right.
So that's why you might find the same thing on both
good
and bad.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I eat garlic, I eat eggs, I don't eat ginger, I don't eat beans. Beans make you fart. I eat tuna. I eat olive oil and avocado, so it probably explains why I'm a pretty hairy guy. All the testosterone oozing out of me.
And of course, you see the same thing here too. These are a lot of the food that actually reduce inflammation.
Right.
So
omega-3.
Again, goes hand in hand. Other things that we could look on that boost testosterone is getting enough quality sleep.
I say
reduce stress levels, so we actually reduce the cortisol and things like that actually breaks down muscle mass. Resistance training is always going to be a huge factor. People that actually strength train will have a higher testosterone level than if they wouldn't be training. So that's something that you see in both men and women.
Right.
So that's something that I always say. And yeah, so again, it's basically the same thing over and over and over. Like, to be healthy, you eat well, sleep well, reduce stress, physical activity, hopefully resistance training.
But we live in a society, we're always looking for the pill. We want to buy something when really most of the cure or most of the management of it is right in front of us. It's our choices.
And here's something that you bring up too, or like what I think of when you're saying that. Like we're talking about testosterone therapy and things like that. I don't see a problem with it. I just see that, like, if you have a serious like physician that take cares of you and give you the right products, and also like a lot of products you have to fine tune for the right concentration and dosage, and also what type it is.
Right.
And that helps a lot of people that have issues. For instance, they might have problems with producing the hormones themselves within their body, and also like life quality. I understand that people like, well, your life expectancy might drop with a couple of years, but if you're having way better like a life quality for using it, I'm 100% behind it. But that doesn't mean that you can go out and score a bunch of like the Russian testosterone or pills from your local gym.
Right. Under doctor supervision.
If you're into that, that's your decision, and it's fine. Just do it smart. Have people doctor, that know what they're doing and tell you. Don't like seek out like a lot of different opinions for it. So if you're gonna do anything with that type of stuff, be smart about it.
Yeah, and I always say, absolutely, we're not giving medical advice here. Always listen to your doctor, healthcare professional. But yeah, I'm a big proponent of, if you need to go on a medication or a pill, do it. But I think we're a little too quick to jump on the pill wagon sometimes. And again, nothing against going on medication through your doctor, but
And also we're not willing to take the right path of actually doing it. We were looking at shortcuts. What shortcuts usually lead to, it's taking more time down anyway. So
Yeah, I
Actually
mean,
taking,
listen, even myself, there are, I was talking about my anxiety and stress. I'm thinking, boy, should I go on a medication to help my anxiety and stress? But I'm like, you know what? I'm not against that. But before I even entertain that thought, I go, let me just the underlying cause. Why am I
yeah,
stressed? Why? So, let me work on nutrition, better sleep, yoga, cognitive therapy, talking to people, talking to a therapist. So same thing with the testosterone or whatever. Like before you
yeah,
go to the pill, look at what we're talking about: the foods, lifestyle, and again, nothing against medications. Talk to your doctor. But before you do that, before you tap out and jump on the pill wagon, and again, nothing wrong with that. But yeah, look how we're living.
there's
First.
a time, there's a time and place for everything, and I think that actually trying to let your body heal and trying to work itself out by you maybe doing some adjustments into your lifestyle is going to be way better than
Because that's going to
trying
address
to
the
escape.
underlying cause, right? A
Yes,
pill typically, not all the
100%.
time, right? A pill typically, not all the time, is a band-aid, but you still have an issue.
Yes,
Like we talked about, we had the new dietitians on and before, and you and I talked about this too. It's like people get bariatric surgery or gastric bypass. Okay, if you have to do that, you determine that for you, but you still have to address the issue though.
yes,
Your lifestyle, you can never get away from that.
yeah,
So it's like, again, everyone has to do which is right for their lifestyle and their family and again, themselves. Okay, Max, real quick, before I want to respect your time. All right,
yes.
so what does the pituitary gland do? We're talking about hormones here, but people, I don't even know where it is. Where the fuck is the pituitary gland? I'm looking for.
Okay,
You hear it all the time.
So let's start saying where it's at. So you basically have your brain, and then you have your brain stem going down. So if you look at it like a little bit like this, so you see the United States, and then you have basically the Gulf of Mexico and Texas going down like that. Basically, around there is where it's located at in the brain. It's about a like it's small. It's
It's
pea
like
size.
behind up and behind the nose area, like in there.
Yeah, going inwards a little bit more into your head.
Right.
So anyhow, it's small, and it sits between your like in the middle of your brain, basically, right half, left half, and
Size of a pea.
size of a pea. And this is probably one of the most important glands that we have in our bodies, because it's basically el jefe. It's the boss of everybody else. So this guy is basically sends out signals to every other glands and functions within our bodies. So we're getting the right things going out, like we're getting the right hormones getting sent out and all those things. So having issues with this, it's definitely going to cause a lot of issues to your health.
Yeah.
So and it regulates like everything. It's like skin, energy, mood, reproductive organs, vision, growth. Like it's involved in everything. It's there poking and correcting and doing things. So it's a very, very different or like important organ.
For the size so small that it is, they call it the master gland, the mastery gland, or whatever. It's the boss, like you said, the boss. It's amazing that little tiny pea size gland controls everything.
Yeah.
We got to do a show later. The human body is just, I'm like, what? So damn, this gland does all that.
But here's the interesting part. Like you said, like I had no clue what it was. And this is something that is so important for our bodies to function and work. And we have no clue. We know way more about who was the best hitter on the 1986 New York Yankees. We know how to like fix our cars. We know how to fix our phones and computers, but we have no clue on how to fix our bodies. We don't even know what's inside our bodies.
Yeah, I mean, they really are a universe unto itself. And we have to do a show on this because I'm reading this book called Immune. It's a New York Times bestseller, and it breaks down everything about the body on the cellular level, the macro level, arms, bones, hair, nails, brain, whatever.
Molecule levels, atom, like ions. It's insane how.
Right. We have a universe that we're.
Yes, we do.
You and me, everybody watching this, we are more miraculous than the galaxy. I mean, it is amazing what the hell the human body is. I mean,
and whatever people are saying about you, one thing that you can tell yourself and that we can actually look back at, we're all stars.
Yeah.
We are all made out of
carbon.
stars, like things that have been in a star like before. That's what we're made of.
Yeah, we are.
So
we are the
whatever
universe.
people says, hey, I'm a star, you're a star, we're all stars.
Carbon-based life form for sure, man. It is.
Yeah.
It is awe-inspiring. In I don't know. We have to do a show about that because I just scratch my head every day. I learn something new. I'm like, geez, there's got to be something up there. I don't know, but anyways.
That's the cool part. Then that's why I got into biochemistry. It's because this is what I always call, like, it's an onion. You use like you bending layers up on layers back, and there's more and more and more. That quote I actually got from the first Shrek movie, that he's like an onion. There's many layers to him, and I love that because I think that it says so much. I mean, don't judge the book by its cover, and it's the same with your body by its cover. Like, you have to start peeling and looking into it, and that's why nutrition and training and health and things like that, it's you always learn something.
It's all inspiring. And I got to tell you, the more I learn about the human body, the more scared I get, because I'm like, holy shit.
I went through that. So one of my
insane what's going on.
One of my craziest experience was when I went to graduate school, we basically had to pick up a fairly hefty biochemistry book, read it through, and then we sat down and basically had a talk with my professor, my supervisor. They were sitting and talking about, like, basically everything in biochemistry. And of course, since I like the human body, I took one that is more gravitating towards like the human body, and also like from more kind of a medical perspective. And oh boy, when I read that book, I'm like, I'm pretty thankful that every day I wake up, most of my shit inside my body is working, and I'm not turning into some blob of whatever, like basically organic material that just falls apart. It's nuts.
The more I read, the more I'm like, I'm surprised I made it past 2 years old. Like, it is a miracle we're still breathing right now. Yeah. I mean, I'm seriously, and that's not even a hyperbole or an exaggeration. I mean, it is just awe-inspiring. But anyways, okay, listen, we got to wrap it up. Anything else you want to say, Magnus, before we get out of here?
No.
Thanks, guys.
I'm gonna be quiet.
Yeah. No, man. Listen, man. That's why you're on, baby. Come on. Yeah. Hey,
again,
ladies.
I will send my link to my Facebook group, free Facebook group, information about health, training, just being a kick-ass person, and with a ton of other kick-ass persons.
Yeah, man. Thank you, everybody. Yes, we have a bunch of new shows coming up this week, so check back in. Oh, don't forget, High Tech here. Like and subscribe. Hit the notification. I'm too lazy to do more editing on the screen, or just whatever. So tell your mom, your friends, share the show, everybody. So we'll see you next week. Magnus, have a good rest of the week, buddy. Thanks for tuning back in, everybody.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, everybody.